It's me, sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly for you.
That's sad. Oh, I'm sure you're beautiful.
At this distance.
Hey guys, it's Dave here from Metal Ruse, and I have Andrew here from My Dying Bride. How you doing, mate?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good, really good. How's the weather there?
Don't ask. It's just,
It's the UK, so it's always shitty, isn't it?
yeah, it's worse than usual, actually. It's rained. It appears to have rained for 6 months, if not more. It's been brutal.
Oh,
And
really?
it really begins to make, just draw you down. It's just never, we've forgotten what blue skies are. It's just grey, which we're used to. You know what I mean? We're kind
Yeah,
of used to that, but it's been relentless this time. It really has.
yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
so,
Sorry.
so
Yeah.
we won't talk about that.
Yeah, well, I won't tell you. We've had really hot summers and
Yeah, great.
44 degrees, which is actually relentless as well in the opposite way.
Yeah, I can
But,
imagine. I'd try it for a bit though. I mean, you don't want this, man alive.
you
It's soul
know,
destroying.
yeah, yeah. All right. So My Dying Bride's been since 1990,
Mm.
13 albums, hell of a legacy, 34 years. You've been there the whole time, yeah?
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
One of the how
yeah.
does that feel? 34 years, that's great.
It still amazes me, and I sometimes you tend to. Well, you just forget how long it's been. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of it feels normal, and then you get wake up moments when you think, really, because someone will come in and say, "Do you realize it's like 20th anniversary of this record?" And you go, "Oh, bollocks, it probably is."
Yeah.
And then you're suddenly sort of shocked back into the realities of just how long this has been going. And the realities is I've been in MDB longer than I've been alive. If you know what I mean, half of my life has been out, but half more than half has been in this
Yeah.
band. So it's like, what's so I have no concept of what it's like to not be in this band anymore. Uh,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
but it's a strange, it's strange in many ways. But I always say this ultimately, and always come down to this. It's the strangest part is how is this band? How have we managed to do 34 years playing what we play?
Yeah.
Because we're not trying to please anybody. You know, it's not pop.
Yeah, it's not
We're
pop
not,
music.
you
You're not
know what I
writing
mean?
to a formula of,
No,
this will
it's
sell
really
this and yeah.
so it's in places pretty, you know, obscure and oblique music, if you will. Quite, quite by design. We're not accidentally doing that. It's on purpose.
Of
And yet
course.
here, we are, still 34 yees later, still doing an album where we've got interest globally, if
Yeah.
not more than usual. I mean, it's almost like we. I have a saying, and lots of people say something about this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's if you keep going long enough, people forget your shit because you just become part of the establishment. It's like, oh, My Dying Bride are doing another album. Oh, I don't know, I'll have to get that. But they don't really remember why. It's just, oh, it's MDB. They do it. It's like you go
Yeah.
buy the Slayer album and the Iron Maiden album. We're trying that. We're trying that approach. We're not going to try to write any good music. We're just going to keep going so people just think we're part of the establishment and just buy it anyway. So it's a strange, for me, it's a strange concept that we are still knocking about. I mean, it's just amazing, really. It's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy that people, yeah, will just like follow that, and but that's why you do it as well. Those fans feel that connection with you guys and keep that connection, and I guess as long as you do
Yeah,
it, they're gonna.
I think the My Dying Bride fans. I mean, you tend at our level. I found you tend once someone clicks with the band and what the band stands for, not necessarily with us as people, but the band's ethos. You know,
Yeah, 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 I got you. Yep.
they tend almost never to leave. They're into it. Now
Yep.
that they might not be wearing all our merch all the time, but
No.
loyal in ways that it's like a quiet loyalty, and it's a strange thing. We've seen it where the people creep out the woodwork, well, proper like business types, and you think, I never expected
Them to
your,
listen.
that kind of thing, and you think, am I being strangely judgmental there? But possibly, but not. But you just But you think, no, I picked you up. I got your EP Symphony. And I think, fuck me, you were listening to that. And I went, into this, so we do somehow get surprised ourselves at what type of people are listening, and then also at the same time shouldn't really be.
No, that's right. I guess you're putting it out for people who are enjoying it the same way you're enjoying playing it and writing it. Those people might or might not have those abilities of musicianship, but that's their thing, isn't it?
But what this is something new that I noticed recently. We've become content for people that do reviews of things, and we understood interviews for magazines, and we understood interviews for like podcasts and radio. I got that. I mean, that seemed to make sense in a sort of an old-fashioned way. But then this new thing, well, it's not new, but it's relatively new. It's like the reaction videos. I thought, oh wow, we're part of that now.
Oh, so really? Yeah.
People are doing, we'll react to the new. We've released a couple of singles from the new album. We've done videos for them, as best we can. And people are doing reaction videos to them where they'll sit and watch the video, and thankfully they're being very, very kind to them.
The
ones I've seen anyway. So you think, wow, we're now content. Not only are we doing it and promoting it, they're doing it and promoting it, and then there's people are watching their videos. It's like this kaleidoscope. Well, I've got back from work, so I'm really. So I don't think this band can make it.
No,
and you know what I mean, and which is fine. And I've said this for many years. And in fact,
what's make it really?
Well, I did have a definition when I was a kid. I was massive. Well, as we all were, massively into Iron Maiden and all the sort of new wave of British heavy metal.
Yep.
And they were so large, and rightly so, that you think, well, that's the standard. And what I considered making it was you don't have to tour all the time, and yet your music still finances you.
Yeah.
That's how I considered making it.
Yeah, true.
Now, there are some bands that don't work, but they're touring a lot. Not necessarily all the time, but they have to put some miles in. And there are some bands like Metallica's and Iron Maidens and those types of things that don't really have to tour at all if they choose not to. They're okay. Now we're none of them. We're none of that at all, which is a bit of a shock to the system after 30 years that you're still none of it. But I still like it. I was saying it to the band earlier. So, we're precisely where a My Dying Bride should be.
Yeah.
It's what did you expect? Look at what we do. Look at the titles we do. Look at the length of the songs we do.
Yeah.
You can't expect us. I mean, I personally think we're larger than we probably should be, whatever that might mean. So we're just appreciative of where we are, and the longevity and all those kind of things. Because who would have thought this? When a opening EP was half an hour long, called Symphonia Infernus et Spera Imperium, it's like, what are these guys thinking they're fucking doing? Well, we're not having none of that.
Yeah.
And yet, 33 years later, still trying it.
Yeah.
So I can't knock it. I mean, I like it. I like the scene. I like heavy metal. I'm dyed in the wool heavy metal. It's part of who I am.
Yeah. That's great. So I'd like to ask some of maybe an early story of Bradford, where you guys originated, and being a part of the original Peaceville 3.
Yeah, those were better times in hindsight than they were living them. I think that's probably rose-tinted glasses type of sort of scenario. So when we were doing those times, when we did As the Flower Withers and then the EP and Turn Loose and those kind of things, and Anathema doing, I think I don't know, they may have just done Crestfallen, and PL were doing, I think they'd managed to get Gothic out, which was a big success considering it was very different from the first album. We were suddenly informed that we were part of something that we had no concept of up until then.
Yeah.
What we were too young to really understand what was taking place, I think, and we were too insular in just keeping My Dying Bride going than to really understand. But what we did recognize pretty quickly is that this scene opened loads of doors in Europe, not necessarily England. England was actually, Great Britain was slow to catch on to this type of thing, but Europe lit up.
Yeah.
Germany, Holland, France, Belgium as well, Italy to a degree. Well, in fact, Italy more similar, but particularly the lowlands, the Low Countries, and Germany. We were just sort of we were out there all the time for years and years and years, touring up and down. We'd do another album tour up and down, and we didn't really realize that we were part of something until we all look back now and go, "Wow, I can see it now." But we couldn't then, because we have a saying in the band. It's like the spectator sees the game. We weren't spectators to it. We were sat right in the middle, but we just didn't know.
Yeah.
Was
playing the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it was, looking back, it was great, but I didn't appreciate it enough because I didn't know it was happening. We just didn't know. Only now do we look back and go, yeah, I can see it now. I can see the broader aspect of it all.
And that was pretty cool, and
yeah. That we were part of something, but that was bigger than anything, bigger than the band, bigger than us collectively and singularly, bigger than the whole three bands.
Yeah.
The scene, because MDBPL and Anathema were one aspect of what was taking place. But if you just went 50 miles towards the west coast, you had, well, more or less that direction, you had Earache Records.
Yeah.
And we all know what Earache were doing. They were Carcass, Morbid Angel, they were Bolt Thrower.
Yeah.
And we were trying to be that, but a slower, doomier version, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was, for us, it was just relentless, and all of it was brilliant. Where we lived, Bradford, for reasons unknown, you'd get 3 gigs in the UK. It'd be London, Bradford, and then possibly Edinburgh, somewhere in Scotland. But it was definitely London, Bradford. And we lived, I could walk to these venues. I didn't need to take anything. I lived that close. So we had it all. We had Deerside one week. We had Dark Angel the next. Then we had a version of Death came once, but without Chuck, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we had Danzig, and then it was Obituary then, and so we just stood at the back and going, well, this is fucking great, isn't it? This is what we want, and so as My Dying Bride little fledglings, we were watching all these bands come across, and then I remember when Entombed came across for the Left Hand Path, we were hassling the guitarists for plectrums, and they were so new to it, they didn't even have their own plectrum, so we ended up with Jim Dunlop 1 mil that you can buy from anywhere.
Yeah.
But we got them anyway.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, yeah, precisely. We were just, like, fucking hell, it's Entombed. And they were brilliant as well, man alive. So we were just wide-eyed, and then the next minute we're downstairs at the same place watching Napalm Death. Yeah. But then watching Napalm Death with Lee Dorian's new band, Cathedral.
Yeah. Opening.
Now, you stood there. We were a little doom band at the time, and we're watching Cathedral, and Cathedral was slow early on. Particularly a song, we've got a song called Ebony Tears. If you don't know it, not you, but your listeners, go listen to that.
Yeah.
Fuck sideways. And just to frighten your parents, turn it right up loud at the beginning.
Yep.
When it comes in, it'll shake the house. So you know what I mean? We're listening to that stuff, and it's mind blowing. Yeah. It's just, we can't believe what, but looking back, I can see it collectively. At the time, we were just like, this is normal to us. This is all normal. So next week, it's, God knows whoever from God knows where. We might get some Swedish death metal band turning up, and then we get Sacred Reich in the mix. It's like, God almighty, we were so spoiled.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant. And then we grew up out of that, and then we moved into doing gigs ourselves and so on. That was some time.
Pretty amazing kind of thing to experience it. Yeah, as you say, like at that age, you think everyone's just got these metal bands right next to them all the time.
Yeah, I thought so. Morbid Angel came over. I think it was on maybe Blessed Are the Sick, and their support band for some reason couldn't make it. So we were local and relatively well known, but we were still in demo stage. I'd just been and bought my tickets. They were £7.50 each. I remember I got myself one, got my girlfriend one at the time, and we got the bus home. They didn't drive. No one had mobile phones, or fuck all like that for the for your listeners. There was a time when there was no mobile phones.
I remember.
So I get back home, to my girlfriend's house, and there's a phone call, and they go, so and so's on the phone for him. It's weird. No one ever rings me, and no one ever rings me here. Basically, we'd been asked to support Morbid Angel. Yeah. And I went upstairs and I was sick. With fear, literally sick. Fuck me, really? So we ended up supporting Morbid Angel. We got us gear, we borrowed all their kit, and we did his gig, and it was relatively successful. And then Dave Vincent came to the pub. We have a pub across the road from where that gig was, called the Wheat Sheaf. Anybody that knows me knows this place. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's in there, and we're trying to sell him one of our demos. uh, well, in fact, no, we were trying to give him one, but he would. We in England we'd just converted to the pound coins. You know, we'd gone from paper money to little metal coins, and he fucking hated them. So he was trying to give them all away. So no, I'll pay it because I hate these fucking things. And we're going, no, you've got to keep it. We can't charge you for it. You're Dave, it's Dave Vincent. We are just these little kids, glossy at this fucking rock star, or so we thought.
Yeah.
And it was just phenomenal times. And that was all standard, normal. All the bands would end up, probably coming over to this place for a drink. It was just because it was just standard denims and leather, old school patches, that kind of thing. It's fucking brilliant.
Crazy old school times. All right, so we'll head over to the new album. So on Nuclear Blast, A Mortal Binding. So I feel pretty lucky to have given the pre-copy, have listened to that. Absolutely love it. So give us some insight into the writing of that album.
Yeah, it's the main thing that seems to be I keep saying is that we deliberately try to write a more heavy metal album without sounding like some sort of madcap. Well, fuck it, why not? I am a madcap heavy metal fan. So yeah, we tried to write a basic, well, back to basics, if you will, heavy metal album in our particular style. But with riffs. We tried to bring in more riffs, deliberate riffs, as opposed to what was on Ghost of Orion, which was plenty of riffs, but there was lots of open passages of ambient sort of darkness.
Yeah.
And there were some eclectic moments on that we, and possibly experimental moments as well.
Yep.
Plus, we had Lindy Faye Heller on vocals, and we also had Joe Quayle on cello. And we thought, well, we can't do that. And not only can't we do that, we don't want to do that again. And then we suddenly found ourselves focusing on this very direct guitars and metal approach, and that quickly followed that. Well, if we write music like this, we can force Aaron to do death metal vocals because we all like that, and we kind of have to talk him into it because he thinks it should be binned by now, but we're not. We don't agree. So we kind of forced his hand on it. Well, that's obviously death metal. Listen to that. What are you going to do there? Fuck it. I've got to. And it's kind of tongue in cheek, but and I think once we realized that we were doing it and it was working as well, it wasn't difficult. I mean, we spent a lot of time on it, but it just got heavier and better, and we kept the harmonies simple, and we kept the violins simple. We kept it all kind of in place. No one's trying to outdo anybody else.
Yeah,
everything's paced. The harmonies weave in and out at the pace they should. No one's trying to be overbearing this. The violin only comes in when we think it should. It's not being used as a gimmick. Not that we've ever done. It was deliberately thought that it has to be withering and precise. When the violin comes in, it has to be absolutely why the violin's there, and then it's out again. It's not just playing because we have one. And same with the vocals. We spent ages with lots of different vocal lines. We play them on violin and keys predominantly to give Aaron lots of options. Because sometimes he sometimes can't see the wood for the trees, especially when you've got hands like we do, which can be. He comes in and goes, "Well, you've stolen all the notes." And, well, obviously we haven't. There's two. We've left you two.
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll fill in the gaps as well. And it was the bottom line to it is just we rehearsed a lot. We must have been working for 18 months on this. Two rehearsals after work, because we're just rock nobodies. So we go to work, come home, do the rehearsals, sometimes 3 a week, and we really went for it. We worked hard, and I'm hoping it shows. Not that anybody cares, but I'm hoping it shows.
No, it shows
that we've managed to get out there, and we're quite, as you can imagine, we're quite chuffed with this. I mean, we were chuffed with the other one with Ghost of Orion. We like this one. It feels like a rock. I won't say rock and roll, but I'll say rock and roll.
Yeah, I got you.
No, we're not just deliberately being orchestrated darkness for the sake of it, which we are guilty of, and I do enjoy that. This was a little bit more straightforward for good or bad.
Yeah, well, so where I am, this is actually a tattoo shop. I own a tattoo shop, and then upstairs, because I've been a touring muso, not at your level, but like kind of touring lots and lots of gigs, stuff like that. Upstairs is a recording studio, so we record other bands, record all my bands as well, and So I was sat there last night listening through the album again, just one last time before the interview, and I have a house engineer that works here as well. So we were kind of pulling the album apart, which I thought you'd probably like to hear. We're nobodies, but doesn't matter. You probably like to hear anyway. But just the production of this, both of us were like, the production is so good, and guitar sounds just absolutely spot on. Like the right amount of grit and grind in them. Not too much, not too little, that kind of thing. You talk,
Yeah, Goldilocks and all that.
yeah, absolutely perfect. It's funny you were talking the kind of heavier vocals. So the apocalyptist,
Yeah.
that was probably my standout of the album, and that had your kind of heaviest vocals, I think, on the album.
Yeah,
Some pitch harmonics in there. It was
yeah, all of that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You can see. I mean, you can probably detect, and we shouldn't say this out loud, that we were actually having fun doing this. So as much as it's sort of supposed to be doom metal and dark and gloomy, which in essence the finished product probably is, or it could be, we weren't dark and gloomy doing this. We were loving that.
yeah,
And pinch harmonics. I mean, in Her Dominion, we decided early on that we thought the bass needed a bit more breathing space in somewhere, because Lena's great, so why not? So we enhanced her sound by giving it a little bit more dirt in this album,
yeah,
brought it into the mix a little bit more, and then cut the guitars out. And I'm a massive fan of feedback, but there's only so much you can do as a riff.
yeah,
And
yeah,
everybody's looking fucking mental. I'm saying, no, this is a riff. This is feed. You can't have feedback as a riff. Well, you fucking try me. So we had, and we left feedback in there. Now everybody soon quickly got the gist. But once the bass started going and the drums started going, because the bass, and the drum and bass, the backbone, the rhythm section as they call
yeah,
it, carry the riff. Me and Neil stood around eating fucking vol au or whatever we were doing, just feeding back, and then we
yeah,
join in a bit later on. And I'm thinking, that works. That's
yeah,
staying like that. In fact, it worked so well, we did it twice as long the second time round. I
yeah,
thought, that works. Leave it
yeah,
like that. And it's just, we were just having great fun with it. It's just standard fucking heavy metal.
yeah,
Feedback, big noise, you know what I mean? And, well, going back to the production, because I can't not give Mark a credit where credit's due.
yeah.
The guy's called Mark Miner. He did The Ghost of Orion. And he has you'll like this, he has a PhD in heavy metal. Now that's
Really?
got to mean something. Yeah, really, really. Because he's actually a doctor at Huddersfield University, a doctor of heavy metal, or doctor of musicology or something.
Yeah, yeah,
So how we all now sort of understand that music is wavelengths, and certain wavelengths disrupt other wavelengths, and we kind of get the gist
yeah.
of why mics need to be where they are, because the wavelength hasn't formed, or you catch it too early or too soon, or all of that. Right. We now have an understanding of that, even at a basic level. Well, his level is, I don't know, Newtonian, Einsteinian. Yeah. And he'll speak to us and we all glaze over, but we keep nodding.
Yeah.
And in a sense, we've all died inside, but he doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And he knows it. He knows it inside out, and he can picture it. You can see him, you think, I kind of think I know what he's talking about. We'll just see what it sounds like. And then you hear it and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He sent us, I'm not making this up. He sent me and Neil, the other guitarist, 3 samples of guitar sounds, A, B, and C. He says, check these out, guys. Email me back what you think is the best. And I have some relatively expensive headphones, not the AKGs, they're good. Yeah. And I put them on and I'm listening. Yeah, that sounds fucking brilliant. We love that. I put the B on. Oh, I must have fucked this up. I must have clicked A again. No, I clicked B. And then I put C on. These are all the fucking same. So I emailed him saying, they're all the same. I can't and then before I send it, I thought, oh no, you're probably just dumb. Ask Neil. So I emailed Neil saying, what do you reckon, Neil? And he says, because I can't distinguish these at all. There's nothing in it. And he says, I'm glad you've said that, because I've been through them about 4 or 5 times. I can't hear anything either. So we emailed Mark, said, what are you doing? None of these, to your meticulous mind and hearing, there's obviously some differences, but we can't fucking tell. They're all ace. Any one of them, just you know. So we're spending hours on a night trying to hear these sounds, not to embarrass ourselves, but we couldn't tell. It was so, whatever he was hearing, it was so precise and only to him. This is the level these are. It's It's insane.
A
But it's
true
insane.
heavy metal nerd.
Oh man, alive! Yeah, yeah. That's that's pretty much it.
Yes,
But
hit
I
the nail on
recommend
the head.
anybody that gets a chance to record with him, go, because he's not, he's not charging Metallica rates.
Yeah,
We can afford him, which means
yeah,
anybody can afford him.
yeah, yeah,
He's just fucking phenomenal. Can't knock him. Great guy.
yeah. Awesome, awesome. All right, well, we're coming to the end here, but I always like to ask, for for kids, for newer people, I've noticed. Actually, we run a venue here, and we run it as all ages. So it's not based around alcohol. It's based around the music, and we're getting these massive new kids. 16, 17. What's some advice you'd kind of give to those kids? I try and keep it in genre specific, sorry. So it's like what you guys do, but just a bit of advice.
There's two ways I could approach this. There's one that is terrifying and would probably lead everybody to think, "Wow, I don't think I'll bother. I'll
Yep.
go be a plumber." Which, yeah, which is it's
That's
useful.
if you want money.
Yeah, well, this is it. And then there's the other one where if you're so drawn that because you'll know if you're drawn to being in a band. You don't
Yeah.
accidentally end up in one. You kind of drawn to it, or certainly I was.
Because it's too bloody hard.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Fucking is, right? So if you're drawn to it, the only advice I would give is just pay attention and enjoy it there and then, because you've no chance of knowing whether that might be it. Now we fluked it. We did 34 years or 33 years and some change, but we still didn't. Like I said, I was saying earlier, we didn't pay attention during the Turn Loose and the Like Gods and Angel days, because we didn't realize they meant anything. We were just too busy fucking about doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
So and as difficult it is to sort of be mindful of what you're doing, I would just say enjoy it.
Yeah,
and
let it sink in.
Yeah, but if you love it, you love it. Do that. But if it starts to take off and you start to get genuine interest, sort out your percentages early on.
Okay.
Because your bandmates' girlfriends will fuck you up. There's a cliche, but it's true.
Yeah.
And you can't trust them. And they'll drag people out of bands that look well embedded, and they'll make people in bands who are very sensible do very nonsensical things at no notice, and it can get very ugly very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's awful to know that, and I wish I didn't have. I mean, I've lived it.
You wish you didn't have that insight, but you do.
Yes, sadly. But other than that, from a playing in a band point of view, there's nothing quite like it. The camaraderie, you build up like a psychic link in rehearsal because you can't talk to each other. So you've got to know what you're doing, and you have this link that develops somehow. Where
it's crazy, isn't it?
Strange nods and winks, and it's like you've all got some strange tick, but you know when. And then you'll look at someone and they'll go, yes, it's 4. So you know to change because you've forgotten.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's great fun. But
which that gets worse as you get older too, doesn't it?
It just without.
How many bloody things was that?
Yeah. But I can't. The negatives do not outweigh the positives. Even now. And we've had some rough times. Just go for it, but enjoy it, because why not? Do you know what I mean? But don't expect too much because it's tough. And I think
enjoy what you do get.
Yeah, I think the difference is now, and I may be incorrect. I mean, you can probably share some insights here. Since vinyl became or wasn't any longer, so the Black Sabbaths and the Iron Maidens and the Saxons and Judas Priest and that kind of thing, when vinyl sort of lost its edge and we moved into the digital world, I don't think a real rock star band can exist anymore, like Sabbath or Maiden or Metallica.
Yeah.
Because the attention span, and with Spotify Shuffle and that kind of thing, people don't buy music in the same way we bought it, where we bought an album and loved it.
Yeah.
And loved it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think, all right, technology is great. Look at what we're doing right now. Can't knock it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Some of the kids, they'll look at me a certain and go, that silly old bastard don't know what he's talking about. What's an album? That kind of thing. But I think they're missing some emotional contact, or it's not the same. And So for new players expecting to be a Metallica or an Iron Maiden, I go for it.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be tough.
Yep. Yeah. It's very unlikely to happen these days. But
Your neck of the woods, another CDC.
yeah, but I think going back to your original point is enjoy what you're doing. You know, if you've got to work a day job and then enjoy it, you know, make the best of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing that, and that should tell you something.
Yeah.
All the band still work. You know,
Yeah.
I took this morning off to do some interviews. Work was okay with that. I went in this afternoon, pretended to do something, came home,
Yeah. Yeah.
did some interviews. So it's, you know what I mean. I'm working in and I'm on. It's just the nature of the beast. Well, you could say, well, you play songs that are too long and that are never going on radio. You shot yourself in the foot. Yeah, that is probably a fair comment. But metal, even though it's massive, predominantly and traditionally, is still sort of
Huge.
poo-pooed by the mainstream. You know.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Which I thoroughly disagree with, but there you go.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for your time today, and good luck with where the album ends up. I feel it's a great thing. So
well, thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Your time as well, which is important. I don't underestimate your efforts you make to make it all come together. It's very useful.
Yep. All right. Thanks heaps for your time.
Thank you. Yep. Bye bye now.
See you later.